Hi Vogue, my name's Camille and today I'm going to take you through my everyday elevated makeup look. This is the makeup look I like to do when I want to feel a little cuter than usual. It's not a natural glam, but it's not a full glam. So in the mornings I don't like to wash my face just because I wash it at night for the most part. But what I will do is take some of my favorite toner pads. These are the ones from Mediheal. These are the Vitamide brightening pads. And I'll literally just take 2 of them and I'll apply them on each side of my face like this. I feel like it's so satisfying to apply it like this. I know it looks crazy, but I like to let them sit for a second, and then of course I'm going to moisturize my lips. I've been obsessed with this lip balm from Laneige. This is their new glaze craze, the one that looks like a little donut. Then after a while I'll just kind of rub the toner in all over the face, and don't forget your forehead. And I'll also go down the neck. You can see all the gunk on my skin. Then I like to take one more toner. This is a moisturizing toner. I love Korean skincare. I've been so into it. But this will just add a nice layer of moisture to the skin before we put on any makeup. It's so thin and it never like inflames my skin or gives me blackheads, which I struggle with, girl. I just lightly pat this in and it gives my skin that kind of like glass skin look. And then for my last step, I always take some kind of moisturizer. This one has SPF in it, and I really like to take a good amount. This is the one from Fenty Skin. I've been using it for literally like 4 years, and I'm prone to dark spots, so this one is really gonna help make sure that all of those active ingredients in my toners and everything don't end up causing more damage. Now you can see how hydrated my skin is. We're ready to start on the makeup. One of my biggest makeup tips I always tell people to do is never skip moisturizing your skin. I don't care if you skip everything else, but you should not be putting makeup on if your skin is dry, because it's just gonna look a mess, if I'm being honest with you, girl. So now I'm just going in with my favorite primer. This one is from Iconic London. This is their Underglow Blurring Primer. So if you have discoloration like me, I always like to start with color correcting. This little NYX Cosmetics Pro Fix Stick is like my perfect concealer shade. So I kind of just go everywhere that my skin is uneven, which looks like a lot, but I promise it's not that much. Then with a little dense brush, I like to blend everything out. Now that my skin tone is all even, I'll go in with my favorite foundation at the moment. This is the Bobbi Brown Weightless Skin Foundation in the shade Warm Almond. And lately I like to apply my foundation with a brush, and this shade match is basically perfect for me, which is why I find myself grabbing this foundation so often. Because you know, it's hard out here for a neutral toned olive girly. Every foundation I try is always too yellow or too red, too orange, so this one is actually perfect for me. Now, this might be controversial, but my next step is cream bronzer. And I've been using this one from NARS forever. This is the NARS Laguna 4 cream bronzer, and I like to use this Patrick Ta brush because it really sculpts the cheekbones perfectly. I love this little fan shape, and I just always blend in an upwards motion. This bronzer is so good, it literally blends in like butter. I also like to put it on my forehead. Even though I don't have much of one, it still needs to be bronzed. I also saw a makeup artist do it, I don't know which one, but they always put a little bit of bronzer on their chin on each side. I feel like it just brings a level of symmetry to your beat. I like to take a smaller brush and dip it to the bronzer to contour my nose. And I always start from right where my eyebrow begins, and then I kind of just drag it down. I don't really like to contour down here because I feel like it looks weird. And then with that same brush, I'll just kind of blend it through the eye. This is like the most natural way to snatch your face up. Okay, I'm out of light. I put a little bit of bronzer right underneath the tip of my nose. And that's it. Now we're gonna do a little bit of cream blush. This is danessa myricks Yummy Skin in Rosé Brunch. It's so mini, but I literally use the smallest amount and it's so pigmented. I just like to place my blush right here, almost under my eyes, but directly above my bronzer. I feel like this is the most flattering for my face shape. Some people will tell you not to put it on the apples of your cheeks, don't put it here, but it really just depends on what you look like, if I'm being honest. And there's really no such thing as too much blush to me. Like, I'm putting it here, a little on the nose, on the forehead, and on the chin. Now, if you ask me what my favorite makeup step is, I'm always gonna tell you concealer. Every single time. And I feel like it's because it's the most transformative step. 9 times out of 10, if you see someone who looks really beat, it's because they have a good concealer. Today I'm using this one from Hourglass Cosmetics in the shade Maple. And I always let my concealer set down, but since this one is a thicker formula and I have dry under eyes, I'm only gonna let it set down for like 30 seconds versus any other concealer. If it's more of a hydrating formula, I would let it sit for like 5 minutes. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I almost always blend my concealer out with a brush too, just because I love coverage under the eyes. And if you use a sponge, it's a lot quicker, but it's gonna soak up like a bunch of your products, so you might as well just use a brush, girl. And when I'm blending, I like to kind of cut upwards right here to give my face a little bit of a lift. And also make sure you're blending from the edges and then blend the inside. You see how this part of my concealer is already blended out before this is even touched? That's what you need to be doing. You're welcome. Now, if I was a normal girl and this was a normal glam, I would tell you to just move on to powder, but I'm not. So we're gonna add another layer of concealer. This is the same Hourglass concealer, just in a way brighter shade. And I like to focus right here, as close to the inner corner as you can get. And while this layer sets, I'm gonna take my blush brush and just kind of go over that harsh concealer line, because it'll look absolutely insane if I just leave it like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing with my bronzer. Now this step is pretty repetitive. I'm gonna take the same concealer brush and just tap, tap, tap right here and add another layer of coverage to this under eye. Do you see how big of a difference that just made? I'm obsessed. Now before we set all this down with powder, I'm just gonna underline my brows with some concealer. We're already filled in from earlier, so normally I just use my Benefit brow pencil. This one right here, this is precisely my brow. I have so many brow tutorials posted. I'll link one down below because it's a whole thing, but for now, we're just gonna underline the brow, and I like to use a flat brush to do this. I had to pull out the mini mirror. Now it's time to set the face. I'm using my favorite powder of all time. I'm not even exaggerating. This is the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur Translucent Honey Powder. And I like to take a powder puff and make sure that it's evenly coated by patting it on the inside of my hand, because we don't want the powder to be uneven on the puff, because then it's going to be uneven when we apply it. And before I actually apply the powder, just make sure to blend out any creases, because we don't want to set the creases. That's kind of counterproductive. So just using patting motion, and then I don't even look down. I just grab the puff and just go ahead and set that under eye down. I'm really making sure that I press it in from the inner corner all the way out and then around the nose before I look back down. Then I also take a pressed powder. This is the Sephora Micro Smooth Baking Powder. I heard somewhere that this was discontinued. I really hope it's not, but this is in the shade 65 Toffee. And then I'll kind of just swirl off that loose powder that I just applied, because I don't want flashback, but I did want that added coverage. This is also a crucial step. I feel like adding in a pressed powder or even a pressed powder foundation will add so much coverage to your bead. You'll feel like way more complete. Look at how airbrushed we look. Sephora, everyone say thank you. Now to add some dimension back into the face, I'm also gonna take some powder bronzer. I've been loving this one from NYX Cosmetics. This is the Buttermelt bronzer. And I'm just using my other side of this Patrick Ta brush, applying in the same spots. Then I'm gonna take this Juvia's Place blush duo. I'm in love with this. I recently rediscovered it in my collection. This is the Blushed Volume 6. Me and her go together real bad, okay? I like to take the brighter blush first and apply it a bit higher up. This is not the right brush, hold on. I'm actually gonna take my F4 brush from Makeup by Mario. I'm gonna take the fluffier side, not the dense side, and just pack it, the brighter shade, right up under the eye, kind of where we cut that concealer. because it's bright right there. It's really going to make the blush pop. Stun. Okay, and then here's my little trick. If you want to look like your makeup just got professionally done, what I like to do is mix a little bit of my pressed powder. This is in a brighter shade to match my concealer, and then I'll tap into my blush, tap it off, and just run it right underneath the under eye. This is gonna make sure you don't have any harsh lines between your blush and your under eye, just like a professional. And don't be scared to really blend it into the under eye, because this is gonna help merge everything together and make it look seamless. Look at that. Now this is still supposed to be an everyday elevated glam, so for the eyes, I just take a bit of my bronzer on a fluffy brush and I just pop it into the crease. And I blend it out towards the temples. And I do the same thing on this side, and I'm literally gonna call it a day. Oh, and I also like to bring a little bit right under the eye. It just helps your eye not look naked. Now I am gonna add a wing and my favorite pair of lashes. I wish I had better advice on how to do winged eyeliner, but it really does just take practice. I like to use this one from Clinique. And starting at the tail end of my eyes, I just draw a line straight out. I don't like to go upwards because I feel like that doesn't complement my eye shape. And then from the middle of that wing, I really hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I just connect it to the middle of my lash line. And then I'm just gonna fill it in. Okay, I had a little camera mishap, but this is my completed elevated everyday glam. I'm gonna put my lip combo in the comments because my camera died, but I used this jayda lip liner and then this Juvia's Place gloss and this NARS one. It's actually the same lip combo that was in my previous video. This makeup makes me feel the most confident, the most snatched, all of the above. I just feel like this complements my features so well. If you're someone who has a face shape similar to mine, you really need to try out this makeup routine. And even if you don't, try it out anyway. Try the products because I will never steer you wrong, Miss Girl. I promise you'll look like a real life filter if you follow this routine. And you're just gonna be rolling around every day looking like your most snatched self. And who doesn't want to do that? Let me know if you have any questions about this look, anything I use, any techniques, and let me know what you think about this look. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.